That is quite a story, Laura. We're gonna come back to that, but I want to introduce Heidi and
Mhm.
have you tell us a little bit about you and your journey with Kratom, and we'll talk about where things are now and what you guys are fighting for.
All right. So I'm Heidi Sykora. I'm a doctor of nursing practice, retired nurse practitioner, and healthcare executive. My story with Kratom, and I say Kratom as well, it really, I have to go back to, you know, way back. I lived in pain my entire life and I was dismissed my entire life. I've always been highly functional despite the pain. I was just raised in an environment that you weren't allowed to. You just weren't, you just had to keep going no matter what. And, my father was, and I'm thankful for that. He was pretty tough and there were no excuses. So I just learned to, live with it as best as I could and kept moving forward. I tried to get help early on. I was having a lot of neurological symptoms in my 20s. And so I was diagnosed at that time with dysautonomia. And then I, continued, and there was no explanation for, especially I had a lot of episodic pain, like little things. I would get an injury and I just wouldn't recover easily. And I would just take what I could as far as over the counter. And I was never very tolerant for any kind of narcotic. Opioids would just make me non functional. A family member told me about Kratom, and I had a very similar situation that Laura described. I tried a little bit just as a test to make sure I didn't react to it because I react to pretty much everything and I did fine. And I upped it a little bit more, just to a half a teaspoon. And what a difference. I felt normal. I didn't I didn't have the side effects like I had with every other thing I tried that made me dizzy and lightheaded, affected my gait. It was just a normal feeling, but less pain. And so with that, I was able to start exercising and strengthening. And it took me several years of using it regularly to really strengthen and be able to be where I am today. And I should tell you that because I'm in Wisconsin where it's a Schedule 1, I would go down to Illinois and take it half the week and get strengthened, and then I'd come back to Wisconsin and I would decline for a few days, and then I'd go back, and eventually I was able to get myself a whole lot better. So now I help, as much as I can other people to maintain the access um, and also help with regulation to make sure we have safe products out there.